Hello to everyone. Welcome to a new broadcast for Lenten season. This is your Pastor Yeti. Not by bread alone. Let me give some introduction as we move forward in those 40 days. It's easy to think as we begin yet another Lenten journey that we know the drill. We've been here before. We know what's coming. But the truth is that Scripture is a living thing, always new. We hear every scripture reading differently depending on where we are on our life journey, our spiritual journey, or maybe just what side of the bed we woke up on that day. God meets us where we are, and if we are paying attention, we can hear God, see God, recognize God in unlikely places, in stories we think we know. When we take time to listen for the still small voices, a scene and sentence, a word calls out to us, as if surrounded by blinking neon lights along a dark highway. And we are found, even if only for a few minutes. Today we take the first steps on a path through the desert of Lent. Maybe we've been here many times before. Maybe this is an entirely new experience for us. It doesn't really matter, because the best way to approach this journey is as if for the first time, every time. Be prepared to be surprised and amazed, confounded and comforted. The daily readings from Scripture will be our spiritual GPS through the twists and turns of this season. And every time we think we know exactly where we are headed, we're likely to take a wrong turn and need to recalculate. And that's okay. Give yourself permission to be less than perfect. We are not striving for perfection, but for a prayer practice that will become like a well-worn sweater, something we long to put on when we roll out of bed, when we get home from work, when we just need to feel safe. These Lenten reflections won't magically make the kind of prayer grow in your life, but I hope it can be a catalyst to something deeper. The reflections and meditations and prayers grow out of my journey. So, thank you all for joining me in this new Lenten season, for letting me lead you in this prayer journey for the next 40 plus days. Known as you listen through these pages, I'm speaking up to you and praying with you and for you. May it cherish your heart. So let's take each other's hand. Take a deep breath. And let's begin. Ash Wednesday. The brink of possibilities. Write down the readings, as I will give it you every day. Readings from Joel 2, 12 to 18, 2 Corinthians 5:20, chapter 6, verse 2, and Matthew 6, verse 1 to 6, and 16 to 18. Scripture. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father in secret. A reflection. When was the last time you went into your room, closed the door, and prayed wholeheartedly? I don't mean those times when you walked into your room to get ready for bed and let fly a string of "God help me" supplications as you pondered another day at work or a practically difficult decision you knew was ahead. I mean real, silent, single-minded prayer in a dedication space for a dedicated time in a dedicated way. Chances are it's been a while. Life is demanding. Time is precious. Solitude is almost non-existent. And yet, here we are, at the very beginning of Lent, being told to do just that, to make the time and space for God, to be intentional about focusing on prayer, to worry not about appearances, but about what lies at the heart of the matter, even if no one else knows we're doing it. Lent is a time to take stock and start over, as we stand on the brink of the 40 days in the desert. We know we're on the cusp of possibilities, a chance to get this right once and for all. How much do we want that? Do we want it enough? Do we want God enough to step outside our routine, find a quiet place, a space, pray as if our life depended on it? Because it does. Meditation. Imagine that this Lent comes with a fresh, blank slate. You can create whatever your spirit most desires. How will you fill the empty space? Will you waste it on spiritual junk food, platitudes, and pleasantries that look impressive but hardly scratch the surface for your soul? Or will you dive deep into this season, urged forward by a desire to carve a new path through the weeds of wordliness that threaten to choke out God's love and mercy? This path is not easy, but it is sure. Today we begin, one step at a time. Pray with me. My God, I cannot see you through the dense fog of the daily demands that clamor for my attention. But I sense your presence in my life, swirling around me. Give me the wisdom to seek you first, always, even when the world is barking outside my door, asking for more than I have to give. For just this moment, I want to remain with you. outside the world's view, locked only in your holy gaze. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father in secret. Lenten blessings.